Almost everyone assumes that drink driving law is straightforward. Just don't drink after you've had don't drive after you've had a drink. But that's only half the story. For people living in vans, motorhomes or boats, your home can also be your vehicle. Simply sleeping inside after drinking isn't always as legally clear as people think. Today we're going to look at where the law draws the line, why being in charge can matter just as much as driving, and why the rules change slightly once you move on to water. So this is Chapter 4, Driving and Navigation Laws, and we're on part 39 in the video series. Today we're going to cover drink, drugs and the absolute line. So there's one area of driving law where there is very little ambiguity, and that is drink and drug driving. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, the drink drive limit is 80 milligrams of alcohol per 100 millilitres of blood, 35 micrograms per 100 millilitres of breath, or 107 milligrams per 100 millilitres of urine. Scotland operates lower limits. Drug driving operates on a similar principle, but with specific thresholds for substances such as cannabis, cocaine, MDMA and others, and we will cover this all a hell of a lot more in a whole chapter we've got on drink and drugs in Chapter 9. Crucially, impairment does not need to be proven. Presence above the legal limit is sufficient. And I was told once this is one of the only laws in English law where there is absolutely nothing that counteracts it. Doesn't matter what's happening, what situation you're in, you're going to get a ban if you get caught. The penalties are severe: unlimited fines, driving bans of at least 12 months, possible imprisonment, and long-term consequences for employment and insurance. There is no practical workaround here. If you are over the limit and in control of a vehicle or boat, you are at risk. So sleeping in vehicles and boats, the misunderstood offence. Many people assume that sleeping in a vehicle while intoxicated is safe, as long as they are not driving. Legally, this is not always the case, and I do know someone who's been nicked for this. The offence is being in charge of a vehicle while unfit, and that is judged on circumstances. Sitting in the driver's seat, having the keys within reach, or being in a position where you could reasonably drive can all be enough. For those living in vehicles, this creates an awkward overlap. Your home is your vehicle. The law does not fully separate the two. The safest approach is to remove any suggestion that you might drive. Stay away from the driver's seat, store the keys out of reach, and make it clear that the vehicle is stationary for the night. Even then, interpretation can vary. For boat dwellers, this issue largely disappears. A boat is clearly a dwelling, as well as a vessel, and sleeping aboard is expected. However, the boundary reappears when the engines are running, the vehicle is underway, and you are in control in a navigational context. So, while the legal risk is lower than in vehicles, the same principle applies once movement is involved. So, alcohol, drugs and being in control of a vessel. The legal framework differs slightly from road law, but the principle is the same. Being in control of a vessel while impaired can lead to prosecution. Enforcement is less routine than on roads, but the risk increases in busy waterways, tidal rivers and coastal navigation. The practical rule remains unchanged. If you are operating the craft, you need to be sober enough to do it safely. And as I say, we will cover a lot more of this in a lot more detail in Chapter 9. So drink and drug driving is one of the few areas of transport law where there is almost no grey area. Once you're over the limit, the consequences can be severe, whether you're on the road or in circumstances or in the water. And let's face it, it's not just about being nicked, is it? Who wants to run over someone when pissed? If you're trying to live differently, this isn't just about alcohol. It's about understanding how the system works before discovering it the tough way. In the next video, we'll look at what really changes when you move onto your own land and the driving mistakes that catch many new landowners out.